special meeting, Wednesday, September 18th. It's approximately 4:30. We're going to go ahead and call the roll, Madam Secretary, followed by the roll pledge of allegiance, and then we'll get to the action.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's 4:41 p.m. Chairman Delzame,
Here?
Vice Chair Estimate Urban,
Present.
Board Member Calvin,
Here.
Board Member Timothy, Board Member Charles.
Present.
Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you so much. The pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam Executive Director, item 1.
You need to read it? Sorry. A resolution of the Chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the Executive Director and NMCRA attorney to negotiate and finalize an interlocal agreement with the City of North Miami for the funding of the purchase of the Scott Galvin Center by the City of North Miami in the amount of $5 million, authorizing the Executive Director to execute the interlocal agreement with the City of North Miami, authorizing the Executive Director to take all actions necessary to implement the terms of the interlocal agreement and providing an effective date.
Good afternoon. This item is just to facilitate the transfer of funds from the North Miami CRA over to the City of North Miami to facilitate the purchase of the Scott Galvin Center in this fiscal year. So we wanted to make sure it was on this agenda. That way, if it is approved, then it's reflected in the budgetary items that follow.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Charles, seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 2.
Okay, item number 2, a resolution of the Chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the fiscal year 2023-2024 amended budget, authorizing the Executive Director to transmit the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 amended budget to the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, authorizing the Executive Director to take all actions necessary to complete the approval process for the fiscal year 2023-2024 amended budget with the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County and providing an effective date.
Thank you so much. Mr. Attorney, can we, item 2 and 3, can she read them both, or are they separate?
No, they're separate, items, they're separate resolutions. So
No, I
you
know.
should consider
So-
them separately.
So the item 2 is,
Is the current year's amended budget.
okay, so
So-
that's the part that I didn't.
Yeah,
get.
so
Okay.
basically, maybe I should say it's like last year's budget amended to reflect the actual,
The actual, okay, that
and
was
the
the
executive
confusing-
director will
Got it,
go over
okay.
that with you.
Got it. Okay.
There is a presentation. Thank you. And so this presentation this evening is going to mirror very closely the presentation that was presented at the workshop last week. However, based on the direction of the board, there were certain financial changes that were made that will be shown this evening. As we mentioned, this was a very pivotal year for the CRA. This was the year that we secured our debt financing of $52.24 million, and we received our A rating by S&P Global. We were able to complete 24 residential projects and currently have 22 more projects in progress, and also completed 10 sprinkler projects. Commercially, we were able to fund 7 small businesses through the commercial grant program, and we also completed our funding of 2 large-scale developments, which added 408 units of housing to the NMCRA boundaries. Additionally, we did begin our capital projects by including the installation of 2 gateway signs and the rehabilitation of the I-95 sign. We funded library top lot improvements and began renovations at Liberty Park. And we are also in the conclusion of the design phase for Pioneer Boulevard, which is an ongoing capital project for the CRA. We also funded different programs that are annual programs, which are the MOCA Arts on the Plaza and Education Programs, the Women's Empowerment Luncheon, Government Week, and the Teach to Fish Business Summit. We also did our community in policing innovation by funding the FLOC program through the police department. For our priority corridors, West Dixie Highway being one of them, we did a streetscape analysis and funded 7 businesses through the West Dixie Small Business Tech Grant. And also with Northwest 7th Avenue, which is another priority corridor, which has its own dedicated funding source, we're able to begin a lot of planning strategically for long-term and short-term needs. For the long-term needs, we did a redevelopment strategy for the corridor, along with an action plan to attract national retailers to be on the corridor. And to meet the needs of the small businesses that are on that corridor, we launched the Biz Boost program, which funded 25 businesses.
Okay, thank you. Not much have changed from the budget workshop in terms of numbers. The proposed amendment for this fiscal year is to include the redevelopment revenue bonds of $52,236,769 that we included, which increased our total revenues from the approved budget, which was at $26,453,666 to $78,761,336. Of course, we have a high carryover this year due to the redevelopment bond. And as you can see, our carryover is going to be $55,288,301. The redevelopment bond represents 86% of that carryover.
And that will conclude the presentation for the amended budget item.
Okay. Any questions? Well, let's open it for public hearing. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. On the dais.
I just had one question. It came up at our town hall in terms of flock, or the town hall that I held yesterday. In terms of the flock cameras, is it only 30 cameras that you guys are funding?
Yes, it is spread throughout the CRA wide
boundary.
and also on Northwest 7th Avenue, but CRA wide, the cameras are distributed.
Okay. That was just something that came up. I'll probably discuss it on the city side for areas that are not within the CRA boundaries to see what we can do there for some of the residents that brought that up. That was it.
Thank you. Matt.
Yeah,
Just
I
need a
have a question, please.
Yes.
Are all of the employee positions here are filled?
Currently, yes.
Okay, so the street sweeper, the front desk, all of these?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman?
Move for approval?
Second.
So I have a motion on the floor by Board Member Charles. I heard 2 seconds.
Give it Cassandra.
Okay. I'm sorry, who?
Give it to Board Member Timothy.
Oh, Board Member Timothy is seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And for the record, Board Member Timothy joined us at 4:45 p.m. Item number 3, a resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, authorizing the Executive Director to transmit the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget to the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, authorizing the Executive Director to take all actions necessary to complete the approval process for the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget with the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you so very much. Any presentation, Madam Executive Director?
A very short one.
Sure.
Dunia?
It's not showing, nothing is on. Okay, thank you.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so for our proposed budget, the NMCRA is excited about fiscal year 25 as it looks forward to supporting new projects and initiatives with its increased funding. Having secured the debt financing in fiscal year 24 and standing ready to receive increased TIF revenues from its taxing authorities, the NMCRA will continue the elimination of slum and blight in its boundaries as it executes its development plan. Redevelopment plan.
There is a 16% increase in our revenues this year from 2023-2024, 19,781,649 to $22,883,284 this fiscal year. And there's the, in total revenues, you can see the CD tax increment revenue compared to the county tax increment revenue with the carryover of 55 million. And that's the number that changed from our workshop because of the transfer we're doing for the Scott Galvin Center. It is now reflected in this carryover. And our total revenues for this fiscal year is 78,380,000.
I was gonna say thousands.
78,380,705. Now, to look at our proposed expenditures for this fiscal year, not much has changed from the workshop. We're still looking at the admin expenditures at $883,887 this fiscal year. The operating expenses, there is an increase from last fiscal year, 11,876,566 to 18 million, and that is due to the fact that this year that we are starting with the debt service of $4 million compared to last fiscal year, which was 631. And the debt reserve is also included. So the 8 million is included there for the debt reserve and debt service. And the capital project grant and initiatives, the two numbers that we change are they are commercial incentive programs, which increased from 900,000 to 1.5 million, and the housing initiative, which was we had it at 510,000 last at the workshop, and now it is at 750,000. For the proposed for the redevelopment revenue bond, we have Ruggs Park at 17 million, the multifamily rehab program at 10 million, the mixed-use development at 10 million, and the land acquisition at 5.7 million, which gives us a total of 42 million. And for the summary, we have a total expenditures of $78,380,705, and we do have a balanced budget for this fiscal year.
For 24-25 fiscal year, we do have some proposed initiatives. CRA-wide, we would like to propose land acquisition, launching the multifamily rehab program, piloting a single-family home builder program, piloting a tenant-owner commercial program, implementing a construction workers training program, and implementing the West Dixie Corridor improvements. We will continue our regular programs and projects, which will be our residential rehabilitation program, the commercial grants and infrastructure grant programs, continuing with our capital projects of Pioneer Boulevard's renovation and Liberty Gardens projects, and also the funding to upgrade the ERP system to Tyler Munis and funding the NOMI trolleys. On Northwest 7th Avenue, we do intend to start implementing the streetscape and facade improvements, doing land acquisition, and implementing a small business workshop. This will conclude the presentation for the proposed budget.
Thank you so very much, Madam Vice Chair. Right?
Thank you. Thank you. On page 5, I'd like to add or amend, could we have a foreclosure prevention program?
So we have explored that in the past. I believe there was a legal opinion. Is there a...
As you may recall, we had a program in the past that we had helped one homeowner, all right? And the way that we did that, because the program itself, I think, and we've been talking about how we can do this legally. For example, I don't think we can legally just pay somebody's mortgage. We can help people with educating them how to, address their finances and things of this nature, and shop for better mortgages, help them with, credit, education and things like this. the way that we approached it in the past is we asked local law firms to help represent folks who were in foreclosure. I don't know if you remember this, but my law firm was the only one who stepped up and
Right.
represented
Like Gary
a
Roberts?
homeowner, Helene St. Ange. And remarkably enough, she just contacted me the other day to, let us know everything was still going well with her. So we can look at something, and if we come up with something, we can amend the budget and put some money, into it. How much were you thinking that we would put into something like that? And
I guess we could talk about the amount. I just want to make sure that there's a program, and we can start with a pilot program. And obviously, I want it to be legal and in
Yes.
what way that, in a creative way that we can do it. Because I've been approached by a couple of residents that have had issues, and, and I'm very sensitive about making sure that people that are from here and that have homes here can still stay here. And,
Right, of course.
And,
So we're looking at, and I'm looking at other CRAs to see if they have programs that.
what is legally preventing us from doing that? Maybe that's what I need
So,
to understand.
as just to get back to the statute itself, of course, which was amended, it took out those 5 words. It said including but not limited to. So in section 163-370, where we have the powers that are granted to the CRA, it used to be, here's like a list that includes, but it's not limited to. So we had more flexibility to do things. So obviously it needs to be something in the plan. We have always fostered home ownership in the CRA area. So, but the list that's the list now. So we're constrained.
Right, so I want this, so is it possible that, can that language still be in the plan and you can figure out all the details?
Yeah,
Or do
so
we-
for example, like the same way with the quote, we don't like to use the word marketing anymore, that we use information dissemination. There's a line in the statute that says we can spend money on information dissemination. So if we're helping homeowners and we're providing them with information and, basically mentoring them or fostering them or somehow consulting with them with information that helps them prevent from getting into foreclosure. Because
can they-
preventing them from getting into foreclosure is the key. Once they're in foreclosure, it becomes tougher. I don't think.
So maybe it's the word that I'm using, foreclosure prevention. So let me take out prevention. What if they're in foreclosure and they're coming to us,
And they want us to pay their mortgage.
So how could we,
There's nothing really in the statutes that gives us the legal right to pay somebody's mortgage.
so if we're, could we give them a mortgage and give them an opportunity?
We
Yeah.
could. We can be a lender. We have been a lender in the past. So if we wanted to, we could have a program where we pay off their first mortgage. Or provide them a second mortgage maybe, where the
Right.
funds from that mortgage are used to pay the deficiency in the first mortgage.
Right, so, I understand we
So-
need to flesh it out.
Yes.
But I just would want it to, as a matter of fact, I would like a foreclosure a foreclosure and a foreclosure prevention program. So obviously, the goal is to not let them go into foreclosure and give information, that's fine. But if
If
they're
they
in a
are,
situation,
to assist.
because I just want to make sure that we are,
So the second, what you were describing, and I'm thinking about this as we're going, it's sort of almost like a home equity line of credit, where it's a second mortgage on the property, and we allow them to use it to get themselves back current with the first mortgagee. But, there has to be some sort of underwriting process where we feel comfortable that they're going to be able to sustain payments then to the first mortgagee. How did they get into foreclosure in the first place?
I think staff would like the opportunity to kind of develop
Perfect.
something and then bring it back to the board once we've developed both the legal and practical aspects of our program. So maybe we can bring that back in October or something.
and then at that time, there would be an amendment, so what you're.
Well, we can list it as a proposed initiative.
Correct.
right
Okay, so
now,
I just want to
and
make sure of
then,
that, because it's
you know,
Right.
part of the plan.
Right.
I'm not trying to be too much of a wet blanket, but October is really soon. Can you
Or
legitimately
November.
come up with something Well, so you said October, so that was my first thing, was like, we only have one meeting in October, as far as I know, the 8th.
Yes, but it would just to be able to describe what the program is, we wouldn't be doing much more than that. But I mean, if the board is amenable to November, then that is also fine.
You know, theoretically,
Mhm.
not only do you have to decide how much of a budget, but to me, there's a lot of questions about how you put that into place.
Right,
You
and
know,
so
what are the guidelines, what are the standards one has to meet? You know, we've got folks that have multi-million-dollar homes that might be in foreclosure, and should we really be bailing those folks
Oh, no,
out?
I would imagine the qualifications would be our normal qualifications of one,
single-family
yeah.
homes, yes, absolutely.
Or certain AMI restrictions and things of that nature.
There are single-family homes that are worth, I mean, I had a one on my street alone, a one-bedroom home, one bedroom, one bath, recently sold for $700,000. One bedroom, one bath. Now, and I live west of Biscayne. I don't live, I'm not talking about Keystone and the neighborhoods that are outside of the CRA. And then you gotta talk about, do Solomia residents qualify for said bailout? Because they've
No,
got
so first of all, I'm not trying to take half of our budget to do something like this, no. But I've been approached enough that I think it's something that we can have, and when the money runs out, the money runs out,
Yeah.
or
I think
whatever.
what will also happen, because I was approached even last
Right.
night at the town hall, was that during COVID, people were, we had this assistant funds that, we were paying mortgages, we were paying rents, and now people are behind and they're coming, back and back again. It's not just homeowners, but it's also people who are renting, right? So now you have this rental assistance that, that we used to do, that everybody think that pot of money is there. So I think it's, you look at both options, if there is an option, if you're able to come, I think in a couple of months, or we might be in another recession, just because, it's expected, right? Because the market is on a curve, and, this bubble's getting ready to pop soon. So I guess we're being, proactive in a sense. If this does happen, we'll be ready to roll out. So I think maybe coming back in November with a full detail, whether it's mortgage, I would like to see rental, where we can, see where we can offer some assistance there.
And so, as I mentioned, we can have it as a proposed initiative today and then give details in the future.
I'm okay with that.
If I,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
no, I just want to add to that point. I think it will be very important for us to take a look at this and see what we can do, because I know Vice Chair didn't say it, but the struggle is real out there, and a lot of people are getting kicked out. And also I understand where Councilman Galvin is heading, because we need to do it in a way that we don't have to, how are you going to set up the guidelines so that we don't have to bail out someone that we can't even bail out, and they will be into the right to apply for the relief if we have set program. So I do believe it would not hurt to look into it, but I would like you guys to take some good amount of time, not like rush into it, but look at it deep and see if we can have a very good analysis on how we can basically proceed.
Understood.
Yeah, public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed.
So move, do we have to do with the amendment,
There was
Mr.
no
Attorney?
amendment.
To add that program?
No, we do not need to do the
Okay,
amendment to add the
perfect.
program.
So move?
Second.
I have a motion on the floor by Vice Chair Estimate Irving, seconded by Board Member Timothy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
All righty, then we have, Mr. Attorney, you have a report?
No report, but I would just like to say in the 20 years that I've been here, this is like the most amazing budget and the most amazing programs that I've seen the CRA become involved in. I'd like to applaud the executive director and her staff and congratulate them on doing a great job. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Madam Executive Director, any report?
Thank you so much for passing both of our budgets, and no further report.
Thank you. Cass? Stephanie, you have anything you want to put on
No
record?
report, sir.
Yes, remember that the deadline to register to vote is October 7th, and to request a vote by mail is October 24th.
Was yesterday National Voter Registration?
Yes, it
Yes,
was.
it was.
Yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay. Happy voting day,
Yes.
everyone. May I get a thing to
Motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
Yeah.
Second.
I have a motion made by to adjourn at 5:07, seconded by Board Member Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. It is 5:07 PM.